you have to be aggressive. And that's one of the reasons why I believe Nigerians are so successful globally. Because there's this thing, and I say Nigerians, of course, they have multiple ethnic groups within Nigeria.
Right.
But in particular, you see Yoruba culture and Igbo culture that travels abroad, and they seem to rise to the top of whatever they do. Now, that's not always popular in a lot of different countries. Ghana's a little different because they're a little bit more laid back. Yeah. But Ghanaians are still very aggressive when you put them on a global scale. Now, if you're coming in, this is the difference I see with a lot of Black Americans coming over. We have a hustle, but we're kind of chill with our hustle.
Hi guys, welcome to Kenganda. My name is Jonita Maya and this is the Repart podcast. I'll let my co-host tell you who they are. Hello.
All right. I'm Jay Cameron from Maximum Impact Travel, where we bridge the gap between Africa and the African diaspora.
You're welcome.
Welcome, Jay Cameron. My name is Master Gabs Agavatumsime. I am a proudly allergic to average individual, and I have a podcast called Allergic to Average on my YouTube channel. Check it out. It's pretty dope.
O'Shea, Duke Jackson.
Okay, O'Shea, take this one.
So we have my brother Jay Cameron. So glad to have him in Uganda. You know, this is like a 26th country in Africa.
Number 25. Number 25.
I'm still on like 4 or 5 or something like this. I got to get myself together. But he promised me that he was gonna come, and unlike most of y'all who promised me shit, he actually came. We're not even gonna get into exposing y'all, but but he's here. Got a chance to meet him last night before coming to the podcast. I see why some people do like Joe Rogan. They talk to you before you come. And we had a very fruitful conversation. And you've been very successful in Ghana in coming to the continent, and you now moved Maximum Impact because you do tours, not just in Africa, but primarily in Africa. What you would say?
Correct.
There is a difference in between, doing business. All Africa is not the same. It's just a difference between doing business in West Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa. But just because East and West is so common, what are some of your differences that you would have to say doing business in like a place like Ghana, West Africa, or Nigeria, than maybe a place like Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania? What are some of the differences that you have noticed since you've been doing
Well, what I noticed, the drive, when I say drive, this isn't good or bad, but the drive is a little different in the West. So it's a little bit more laid back in the East.
Very good.
So where the West is aggressive. Now I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna surprise you. The most aggressive place is up north in Egypt.
Okay.
And I have never seen a place so aggressive.
What do you mean when you say aggressive?
Just from the way they flow. You gotta keep your eye on everything in Egypt, and that's on every level. So, the place that taught me how to do business on the continent for real was Egypt.
Okay.
Because they are very intentional about extracting every penny from every opportunity. So they will charge you for toilet paper to go. So now they do this in other parts of the continent too. But in Egypt, they will not let you use the bathroom if you don't pay. So is
that everywhere or just?
Well, not in the high end places, but like if you're riding around, it is the hustling is unlike anything. I've heard it's worse in Turkey, but from my experience on the continent, the hustling, the scams, like they'll do this thing in Egypt where they'll say, we'll sell you this painting for 5 Egyptian pounds. Now that's nothing. Their whole goal is to catch your attention. They catch your attention. Now it suddenly changes. Oh, now it's $5 US. Play on words. I had something like that happen in Jordan too, where if you're not careful, you have to really be on guard. So now that's up north. In the East, everything is just kind of chill, but you can't put your guard down because sometimes the slick things happen in the quiet moments. So,
like, give me an example when you say that. What do you mean?
So let's say, for example, everybody's kind, but if you're not paying attention to what you're signing or what you're doing, you could end up, you're just kind of trusting too soon. oh, yeah, okay, you can move into this place, but they really know that when you move in, the power's going to go out, the water's not right, something, and then they get the money, and then you want to go get a refund, the money's already spent. So those are things.
Like you said, you always said, the money is gone. As soon as you get it, it's gone.
I mean, once it leaves your hand, the money's gone.
Yeah, they already spent it.
And now that's everywhere.
Yes.
So that's in the East, that's in the West. But what I've experienced in the West is if you're going to a different country and you don't know the system and you're just trusting, my advice is that you don't trust anything until it delivers. Mm-hmm. And so I've lost a lot of money in the West. I haven't lost so much in the East because it seems like the business owners, the infrastructure for tourism is better in the East than in the West. Mm-hmm. So that's where the difference comes in. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of companies who are in these different places, and that's why I said it'd be a great opportunity for you, because they are familiar. They understand we need to do right, or else the reputation gets out. So their bread and butter is tourism. Now the bread and butter is tourism in Egypt too, but for whatever reason,
they don't care.
It's
right.
It's on another level.
Okay. So you did mention something about the drive and the hustle, and that is something that is true Nigerians, Ghanaians.
Yes.
Where do you think that comes from?
Well, I think in Nigeria, the population. And I think the population in Egypt also. So you're looking at Lagos, who has a population of 25 plus million people.
Right.
Same thing with Cairo with 20 plus million people. These are the two of the two most populous countries on the continent. And so you take that and it's scarcity. What you kill.
Right.
So if you don't kill anything, then you don't eat.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be aggressive. And that's one of the reasons why I believe Nigerians are so successful globally. Because there's this thing, and I say Nigerians, of course, they have multiple ethnic groups within Nigeria. Right. But in particular, you see Yoruba culture and Igbo culture that travels abroad, and they seem to rise to the top of whatever they do. Now, that's not always popular in a lot of different countries, but that's what the environment created. And Ghana's a little different because they're a little bit more laid back. Yeah. But Ghanaians are still very aggressive when you put them on a global scale. Now, if you're coming in, this is the difference I see with a lot of Black Americans coming over. We have a hustle, but we're kind of chill with our hustle. So we can, once you awaken it, then it kicks into that overdrive. Our West African roots come to life. Something happens, and when I see a lot of us come over to the continent and we try to do business, we're trying to do it kind of from a laid back perspective. Oh, I'm going to go fill out the paperwork and they're going to do what they say they're going to do without realizing.
Hey, come on, Pastor.
Now, now you realize.
Church. Come on now.
Without realizing, brothers and sisters, there's troubled waters coming.
So
when the troubled waters come, it's a shock.
Right.
Because you're thinking to yourself, well, they said they were going to do this, and then the accountability level in the West, if they mess up something, you're supposed to pay for it.
That's very similar to the East. Give me a round of applause.
So that happens in the East?
Oh, absolutely. 13,000%.
So they mess up something, and you're saying, okay, well, how are we going to fix this? Well, I need you to pay me in order to fix it. I'm like, wait a minute.
Story time music. So I had a situation like this in Glovo, right? I used Glovo to deliver KFC. The guy comes, the phone call didn't ring, whatever. MTN network.
Okay.
There you go.
Good old MTN.
Right.
Yeah.
So I called the Glovo lady because he says delivered. He marks it delivered. It was kind of raining out there a little bit too. So he marks it delivered. Glovo is in Nairobi. So we called the lady. She puts it on three-way with the driver. Why didn't you answer your phone? You didn't answer your phone. Like he was going off, like real irate. And she was like, well, sir, you can't just mark it delivered. He said, I'll tell you what, if he wants me to come back and bring it to me, he needs to pay me. And she was like, what? He needs to do what? That's common also here too. They fuck up.
Yeah.
You need to pay them to fix it. It's very common.
So it sounds like it's continental then, because that's what it sounds like, because even in Egypt, I had that problem. Not so much in South Africa. It seems like if the accountability level is not,
it's not there
where it needs to be. I think the reason why the hustle might not be as aggressive in the East, and I can only say that from being in Tanzania, but Ethiopia, and Kenya. I'm sure it's probably a little bit more aggressive in like the bigger cities, because Nairobi's a huge city as well.
There's a lot of hustle in Nairobi, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So it seems like wherever the population is largest, you're gonna find that level of hustle. But the difference is it just feels a little bit more aggressive in the West.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, even in the Gambia. It was very aggressive in the Gambia. It was some of the most aggressive I've seen was in the Gambia. And that's a little teeny country.
What kind of hustle did you see in the Gambia?
Well, it's just the aggressive nature of trying to sell you something.
Okay.
Or when it comes to some of the begging. And so this is something I noticed. And this is something that some people might not be ready to hear. So I gotta prepare everybody. Y'all might not be ready to hear this, but this is real. So I've had several people come to me. They'll look at me. It's happened in Tanzania. It's happened in Nigeria and Ghana, the Gambia. They'll look at me and they'll come to me, in particular in Ghana, Daddy, Daddy, can you give me something to eat? Daddy, Daddy, can you give me? So they call me Daddy. Call me Daddy. Yeah, Daddy, Daddy. And so, you know how many of our American mentalities, oh, the people are poor and they need us to come rescue them and they don't have resources. And, you know, we've been so blessed and we are so privileged over here in the U.S.
Success guilt.
Yeah. And then I stopped and I thought about it. One day, the guy came up to me. I looked at him. I said, why don't you give me some money? He looked at me like, what?
Right.
I said, give me some money.
Right.
He's like, no, this is not how it's supposed to go. I said, I work hard for my money.
Right.
I said, so why don't you give me some? No, he was shocked. Another case, this was in Ghana. Little boy came up. He was out selling on the street. And in Ghana, they hustle on the street. They'll come up to the car selling you something. But he was selling some Q-tips and some shoe shine kits. And he said, would you mind giving me some money? Give me some money. I looked at him. I said, you give me some money. Little boy went in his pocket, got his last CD out of his pocket, and he gave it to me through the car window. So now this was a case. I'm looking at him. He's selling something. He's not, he's begging because that's the culture. So I said, you know what? You want to give me that one CD. Here's 100 CDs, and I'm going to buy something from you. So in a case like that, he was working, but he was willing to give to me.
The last that he had.
The last that he had, but he was willing to give me anything. Just the fact that he asked me for it, and I said, no, why don't you give me something? So he didn't look at me like, I'm not supposed to give you anything.
Right.
He said, okay, I'm going to give this to you. So in that particular case, obviously I did that. But there's this thing I realized that we oftentimes are perceived or we are profiled and we are the prey.
As Americans or African Americans?
Just Americans, or whoever they feel that they can, ask the money for.
Okay.
And so I said, well, no. I said, you all are coming out. I said, I'm sitting here minding my business, eating my food, and you coming to me just asking me for money. I've had these conversations. I said, I'm eating my food, minding my business, and you just want to come to me and ask me for money.
Right.
What is it about me that you looked at me and figured that you could come ask me for money? So I've had several times, and this is all in Ghana. One guy, he came up to me. He said, his name is Jeff from Liberia. He said, man, I don't have any money.
A lot of Liberians in Ghana, right?
Yeah, a lot of Liberians.
From the war. Okay.
From the war, yeah. And so he came, he said, well, I don't have any money. And I said, well, look. I said, this is what I'll do. I said, find something to sell. And I said, I'll buy it for you to sell it. I said, but I'm not going to give you money. I said, I'm a man like you. I work hard just like you. So he went, I said, find some notes. This is in the mask world. I said, get some masks, do something. So he went and worked a deal with somebody to get some masks. And so I bought the mask. I said, that's what I'll give you. Now go and sell the mask. And so the difference is, and I just kind of put the context, said, no, I'll give you the funny part. So 2 weeks later, same guy comes up to me. I said, you don't remember me? He said, you don't know me. I said, your name is Jeff from Liberia. His look on his face was like, I said, I bought the nose mask for you. I said, where your mask? Somebody stole it from me at the shelter. I said, I can't help you this time, man. I said, I'm sorry. I said, it's another guy, he was selling the scratch offs, and I took him out. I said, look, sell something, do something. My point here is that when if you don't know the culture, that could shock somebody. Because it's like the people are begging all the time. They're begging, what's going on? When you begin to recognize the realities of the economic situation. But at the same time, the aggressive nature, what it taught me was how to say no and not to feel bad.
Okay. Let me just ask you this.
Yeah.
In terms of your B2B dealings, let's exclusively that, multicultural, it's the African American community because you're both big. We're both do business in the African American community abroad. Our community, then coming into the Ghanaian business community and doing business there versus the business community you may encounter, if it's Indian owned in Tanzania or Kenyan owned in Kenya, is there a different culture or even a multinational?
Yeah.
What's the experiences you have when it's the B2B?
Oh, it's the B2B. Okay. In Tanzania, I deal a lot with Indian companies.
Okay.
And it's a different kind of conversation because there's a perception of Black Americans that I see throughout the continent.
What's that?
That sometimes we're not the most astute.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes we are not culturally aware. Mm-hmm. So they'll come with little games, like try to give me.
They think that we're stupid.
They think we're stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes. Yeah. I think all the time they think that we're stupid.
Yeah, they think we're coming over emotional. And so I have this joke. I say, look, y'all gonna make me tap into my inner Nigerian. I say, you don't understand who you're dealing with. I say, I was raised in D.C. Yeah. I said, and now I've come to the continent, and I have been baptized into the continent. So
let me just say this. I remember you talking about that you make them, when there's a business deal, if they're speaking another language, you make them stop and speak English.
Oh, yeah. If we're sitting at the table and they'll start speaking in whatever language it is, it could be any language. And I'll say, hey, hold tight.
Right.
I don't know what y'all saying.
Right.
Say it so I can understand it.
Right.
Because I caught one dude cutting deals behind the scenes.
Whoa. How did you find out he was doing that?
Well, what he didn't know was that somebody on my team understood everything they were saying. Oh. And they pulled him and said, hey, you know this is what's going on right here. So dude ended up losing the whole contract. And then what he tried to do was to go behind the situation and try to find out the deal that I worked with someone else. And those are some of the games that you do. This was in the East.
Okay.
So that was the slick kind of passive side.
Tanzania?
Yeah, in Tanzania.
Okay.
So, I had to deal with that. And these are some of the frustrations, that you deal with because they don't think you know. But where I
think 100% they think you're stupid.
And then they'll send you low quality vehicles. You say, hey, I ran into a situation in Senegal, a transportation company. I wish I knew the name because I would call it out. I forgot it. So transportation company, we said, well, they ask you. I always no matter how many people, I like to have more space than what's needed. Mm-hmm. So we had 7 people. I requested a 15-passenger van.
Right.
He decided to send something that could accommodate 7 people. But this was in the heat of Senegal. They only had 2 vents for the air conditioner in the front of the vehicle. Mm-hmm. And I said, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. I said, we requested a 15-passenger van. Mm-hmm. Well, we saw that you only had 7 people, so this is what we decided to send. Mm-hmm. So that ended up becoming a bad situation. We canceled the contract. He had all the money. He had the money for the whole contract. We walked away from the money, got another transportation company. And so that was a lesson learned. So now what I do is I say, send me a picture of what you're going to send us.
Okay.
Let me see what it is.
Okay.
They'll send dirty vehicles. They'll do because they don't think you're watching them.
Right.
Where in the U.S., you'll never have that problem.
Right.
Because they know, we can send this back. There's some sort of accountability.
Yes.
This happens in the East and the West.
Let's talk about this also. You mentioned how you can go with a partner and they'll start off very good. And then as time progresses, they'll start to decrease their service and quality.
Oh, yeah, because they get comfortable with the fact that, okay, you're going to always have that money coming in. So they'll try to slip a cheap vehicle in because they're saying, okay, they're trying to build their business. So they'll send a new client something better and try to send you subpar vehicles or whatever it is. They'll try to reduce the services. And then they'll try to say, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't know that this was going to happen like this. And I'm sorry. Can we have another chance? So what I now do on the front end, I say, these are the expectations.
Okay, great.
Please,
great point.
Don't change, don't deviate.
Say that one more time until they hear it.
Don't change, don't deviate, and I go ahead and I say, these are the expectations.
Right.
This is what we're looking for. Before I give this money, what can we expect? Right. And then that way, if they change it, then they know.
Right.
And I mean, I've had some very vocal exchanges with hotels. Mm-hmm. I recently had a situation in Ghana with one of the large 5-star hotels that I will keep nameless right now, but anybody can kind of put that together. It's to the point where I really don't want to take my business to them anymore. And so what they forced me to do was to look for alternatives. We had a great relationship. Mm-hmm. I've taken them millions of dollars worth of business. Mm-hmm. But then they decided they wanted to get slick. Now, this was not Ghanaians. This was the European-owned company using Ghanaians to do the dirty work. Mm-hmm. So I have to get on a Zoom call with the general manager, and I'm explaining to them, I've sent you this much business. I shouldn't have to be sitting here on this phone call.
Right.
So it put a bad taste in my mouth. So it kind of reduced them to a particular place. Now it's like, okay, if I need you, I'm looking for alternatives.
Okay.
And that's what you have to do. You know,
does that also happen in East Africa?
It happens. I had to deal with it in East Africa. I dealt with it in Zanzibar with the hotel out there in Nungwi. So put it all out there.
Call that name out.
So I had to deal with that out there where they started trying to add extra charges and being real slick with it. Now, we've since established a better relationship. But whenever, I like to stick with people, but when they force me to start looking for other places.
So let me just ask you one, because I'm going to cut you off, but I have the proclivity, shout out to God, but I have the proclivity. Like once you show me that.
Yes, sir.
I'm like, okay, you guys, I can't work with you no more at all, right? But then I noticed, because this is a smaller market.
Kind of forced to.
You find yourself having to go back to somebody that you cannot fucking stand to work with.
Yes.
I hate that. One thing about me, I despise being forced to work with somebody, but they have the resources that you need. I hate that so very much. How do you overcome that? For me, like it's...
Oh, well, I feel the same way you feel. And there is one hotel that I really don't plan on working with again. It's called Lancaster Hotel in Accra, Ghana.
Oh, yeah, you really don't want to fuck with them no more.
I called them all the way out. I called them.
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, it's one of the...
Shouldn't have messing up. I ain't gonna stay there now.
Yeah, it's one of the most low-level operations that I've experienced in the world.
Don't leave it out either.
Yeah, Lancaster, right there on Liberation Road.
Oh
yeah.
That's why you shouldn't mess with African Americans in business. See, we do shit like this when you fuck with us.
Oh yeah.
So you better learn today. Go ahead.
and if I actually call a name out like that, that means they must.
And we will fight too. Yeah. So it's not like we scared.
Oh no, no. And
pull up me.
And they in the management, you know, one of the things they did, we had a group go in, and I just know how things flow in management levels. Now this is another Lebanese owned company managed by a gentleman from France, but he uses Ghanaians as the front. So we had a group come in, because I know the culture. I was proactive. I said, listen, here are all the passports. I don't want my people sitting in the lobby waiting for hours to get checked into the rooms. And it was a large group. So one of the managers got quiet. I said, uh-oh. I said, let me go there early tomorrow, because we gave them everything. Got there early. Oh, hello, Jay. Good to see you. It's great to see you. Hey, my folks will be coming in. We got a lot of people coming. Y'all got this worked out? Yeah, we're working on everything now.
Uh-oh.
So what ended up happening, they overbooked the hotel.
Oh, my God.
And so 25 people were displaced.
Oh, my God.
But to add the insult to injury, they made the people wait for 3 hours before they told them. And so now you have folks, first time on the continent, first time. You know, this is just not how we roll. And so I went to them. I said, well, why didn't you let me know this ahead of time so that I could at least alert the people, or we could have done something while you all were working this out? So then they sent us to these hotels, sent the people to these hotels. Some were nicer than the others. But then the Lancaster did not pay the hotels they sent the people to.
Oh,
so now they were trying to hold the people's luggage hostage. I mean, it got ugly. You want to talk about ghetto? Lancaster Hotel, Liberation Road, Accra, Ghana. If you want to get your heart broken, stay there.
Don't play with us.
Oh yeah.
We do stuff like this when we get podcasts. So
yeah, and it was really and all before that we had a great relationship. You know, taking them millions of dollars worth of business. You know, we'll use them if we are in a desperate situation, and there's no. But trust me, if I'm putting it out here like this, they are at the bottom of the list. And many of the airlines used to use them for for their pilots and their flight attendants, and they stopped. This might not even be upper management, because the way that it happened, the Ghanaian staff could have communicated and said, hey, this is what's going on. And they didn't. I mean, we've shifted all of our business.
How did you, I don't even want to know, how did you deal with that?
I stayed professional.
A lot of African Americans on the tour, right?
Yeah, and we took care of
And
them.
African Americans on the tour.
Yeah. And we took care of them. And the good part about
That's the only reason why I never wanted to bring African, because always, if something like that happened, they gonna go make videos, everything.
Yeah. And
our group don't play.
Well, there were a few people that were
because they don't want to hear it's the hotel fault. They're gonna come and look at you.
Yeah, they tried to, but we kicked back and let them know. Because I'm like this, we're gonna do our best to make sure that they're taken care of. So I have a zero tolerance with establishments, but I also have a zero tolerance with us.
Yes.
And what I'm not going to do is allow someone to come in and just try to tear down what we're doing. And it's like, hey, this is what happened. They had somewhere to stay. They were able to eat. And we compensated them for that room. Even though they still had a room to stay in, we still gave them money for the inconvenience.
Okay, there you go.
So
they can deal with that then.
Well, on the front end, some of them, some of them couldn't wait. That's just the place they live in. They live in that place of.
That's why I've been afraid to get.
I'm not afraid of them, because the thing is that
I am.
There were people who
especially from Chicago and St. Louis and Oakland.
Chicago, yeah. I love my Chicago folks.
In Oakland too, in New Orleans,
Baltimore.
Go ahead.
Your business operates in multiple countries in Africa, right?
Yes.
You have an East African base in Tanzania. You have a West African base in Ghana.
Yes.
But you have systems and structures in place whereby when you travel, your teams on the ground are handling things.
Yes.
In preparation of upcoming tours and activities, or also in execution of things where you don't necessarily have to be there. So that requires a lot of trust. Mm-hmm. That requires a lot of confidence in the people that you have empowered to do the work that you've assigned them to do. Is there a cultural difference in, say, for example, what you can expect from somebody who's in the Ghanaian context of running your team, working on your team? I know you talked about B2B.
Oh, I love this question.
You talked about the aggression of the transactional business when somebody wants to sell you or trade a business deal with you. But now let's talk about the employee culture.
Oh, I love this question.
The employment culture. What's that dynamic like?
Oh, there's a cultural difference for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a communication difference if you're not prepared. And I've had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you might say one thing, it might be interpreted completely different.
Yeah.
And you can, I remember one guy, we were dealing with a situation. He said, well, I didn't want to tell you because I wanted to handle it myself. I said, that was something I needed to know. Because that was a situation that we could have handled like this. And so he learned in that particular case. The biggest problem that we encountered is people want to do it their own way.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm looking at y'all in the back.
People wanted to do it their own way and telling me how I need to do. And I'm saying, I know what I want. We'll give an itinerary and they'll decide, well, the people wanted to do this. Like, no, they don't know the timing of it. They don't understand why we put this like this. So we spent a lot of time emphasizing stick to the script. Mm-hmm. Don't deviate.
Yeah.
When I have someone who deviates, they don't get as much work. Those who stick to the script say, if you follow my plan, there'll be more opportunities. If you deviate, then I can't use you. So then you deal with a lot of the kind of slick things behind the scenes. Sometimes people want to open their own tour company, so they want to try to siphon off.
Yeah. I think there's big here also.
Yeah, trying to siphon off clients and without realizing. So one guy, he understands it. He's our lead guy out in Ghana. He gets it. He's like, I've made more money. This man is making almost 6 figures a year doing tours.
I need to stop
6 figures USD.
I need to stop this shit and come work for you then.
I'm just saying, 6 figures USD in Ghana.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Simply because he sticks to the script.
Right.
I can trust him. The people love him. Mm-hmm. So he gets tipped on top of his salary.
Mm-hmm. By the people that's coming in.
Yeah, the people tip him well because we train, our culture trainings emphasize tipping your guides. We take care of him. Sometimes he'll have 4 and 5 tours a month. And so he's there and he gets his salary, but then he gets his tips. So he's over 6 figures, I'm sure, with the tips. Mm-hmm. Another guy on the team, he's like, hey, you got any more work? You come off script too much. Mm-hmm. My clients are telling me that you're doing X, Y, Z. That's a liability. Mm-hmm. We can't have that. So from the employee standpoint, it does require the culture. Sometimes people feel if they've been with you for a while, they're a bit entitled. But that's even in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know,
That's everywhere.
yeah. How come you made that decision and didn't check off with me? Like, hold on, this is my company. What do you mean? You know, so sometimes you have to have those conversations with the folks and say,
"Oh, is that true?"
Do you believe that loyalty or integrity can be built in terms of your relationship with the people who work for you? Can you foster that through the way that you mentor them and coach them and demonstrate a willingness to help them grow and develop in their lives? Or if somebody is good, they're good?
Well, it's everything I do is relational.
Yeah.
Everything I do, because trust is relational.
Yeah.
It's not even transactional, because if it's just the money, someone you can trust is going to have instincts to protect your brand when you're not around.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, no, Jay has had my back.
Mm-hmm.
When Jay met me, he followed through with everything he said he was going to do.
Right.
I don't meet too many people like that, because they come from that same culture. Mm-hmm. So they know the hustles and they know how people take advantage of them. They understand that this is a rare situation to have someone who really follows through. There'll be times that I'll take a loss to make sure they're good. They won't have any lapses in their pay or anything like that. And they'll see it and they'll say, okay. And when I communicate to them what we're doing and where we're going, and then they see it come to pass, they're like, wait a minute, this really did come to pass. I might just be an idea. It might just I might be thinking and say, we're going to go to all these different countries and we're going to expand and we're going to do this and you're going to be able to travel. But they start traveling. You're like, wait a minute, you did say this was going to happen.
Right.
So I think the culture that we have, I'm big on not having a toxic culture. I've worked in toxic environments where it's just very toxic, and I didn't even enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But everybody doesn't appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So you have to go through a lot of different people to find the one who says, I get it. I see where you're going. Mm-hmm. So I have folks on the continent more loyal to my business than folks in the States.
Yeah.
Because you know what we deal with in the States.
Yeah.
Negroes want to go and they look at you and they look at, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I mentioned this when we talked. When the biggest problem I've had is coming to the continent and not dealing with Africans. Mm-hmm. It's dealing with Black folks bringing that hood mentality.
You talked about that in our interview.
Yeah, bringing that stuff, and especially in the tourism space. And I'm saying you got 43 million Black Americans.
Very competitive in the tourism business now.
And it's low level. It's like, stop being insecure.
Right.
If your stuff is all that good, then you don't even have to worry about somebody stealing your client. Mm-hmm. It would surprise a lot of people who I've had to deal with it from. People not talking to you, people not inviting you to different things, people blocking you on social media that you don't even know. O'Shea, people I don't even know. Mm-hmm. And it's bad in Ghana. In particular, Ghana. Mm-hmm. It's really bad. And
because of the size and...
Well, because it's the scarcity mentality. And so they're feeling as though when I came on the scene, I didn't ask permission. Mm-hmm. I didn't go through the Pan-African gods to come in and get permission to come
you didn't, what do you call it when you come to somebody's city? You didn't check in.
No, I ain't checking with nobody. I came bulldozer.
You didn't check in.
I mean, that's the DC in me. It's like, who am I going to check in with? I'm going to check in and ask permission to come bring tours.
Right.
Everybody was cool with me till I started bringing tours.
Yeah.
Then them jokers went radio silent.
Okay.
And then on the low trying to sabotage.
Yeah.
But I grew up in DC in the 80s. I know how this thing plays out. So, when you talk about doing business in the East and the West, and then when we just continue to go we didn't just stay in Ghana. Mm-hmm. Then we went to Egypt. Mm-hmm. Then we went to South Africa. Mm-hmm. We went out to Tanzania. Mm-hmm. Now we're doing documentaries. Now we're doing children's books. And now we're doing activity books. And you can look up and see us doing something all the time. And now we're featured, Travel Noir featuring us twice. MSN featuring us. We're on Karen Hunter. We're doing all these different shows. Now I'm here with O'Shea Duke Jackson. These are things that are happening. Mm-hmm. And it's like all we did was focus on what we did best. Mm-hmm. We weren't in networks in the circles. We didn't we didn't get the permission. We're sitting in the events with the presidents. They're trying to figure out, well, how are you getting here with the presidents? What did you do to get here? Mm-hmm. We just deliver an excellent product.
Right.
And we care about the people. We're not, this is not a hustle. We're not just trying to hustle this thing.
And you think that mentality works East or West?
East or West.
Yeah. Let me just say this. I think that West Africans, in comparisons to East Africans, I don't want to say that East Africans are more docile because you do have Kenyans And Kenyans are just
they're not docile at all.
at all.
No.
Well, but in comparisons to like Nigerians or Ghanaians,
No, I would put Kenyans a step. When I say above, please don't, because I already know. But I even say above. Their hustle is comparable to Nigerians.
Let me just say this. I think in East Africa, West Africans, you know how dealing with us as African Americans, if we don't like you, you know it. Like,
yes,
we're not going. If I don't fuck with you at all,
it goes quiet.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I can talk to you.
Right.
I will not meet you. I will not acknowledge you.
It's understood that there's.
I can look at you in 5 minutes and in 5 seconds, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
You know, at the minimum, you might get if you get that.
If you get that.
What I've noticed in Africa, it's a little bit down a notch. People get not like you at all and can completely communicate. West Africans tend to be a lot more vocal about what they dislike.
Yes.
East Africans in general, you have no idea what's going on. Oh, nothing. You don't know what the person really feels. I mean, obviously it's more, everybody's their own individual person. But the mentality here is to kind of suppress it. Don't say what you feel, so you don't know what the person, how the person feels. Like, let me just say, like in doing business or trying to do something here and get a partner in East Africa. You try to do a really good job. Oh man, that's great. That's awesome. That's nice. And your American aspect is, it's awesome. It's nice. Well, you like it. You can move forward in the process. No. Yeah, because in America, somebody says it's awesome, it's nice. It typically means
something positive.
Yes, and then you're open to criticism. But here's where what I didn't like. Here, when you show somebody something that you're doing, that's great, but they cannot even care about it or dislike whatever. You don't know. And you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is it leads you down. You can really be excited about. Like, for example, there's a guy. I don't want to call the guy's name. His sister, she's watching it. She knows what I'm talking about. I was hanging out at a restaurant. And she came and said, hey, my brother reached out to you on my behalf about a few years ago. She sells children's books in London. Nice lady.
Okay.
At the time, she came and sat. It's like maybe last week. She sat down. I want to come on your podcast. And she mentioned her brother's name. I said, I fucking do not like you, but your brother's a liar.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I'm going to tell you exactly what happened with the brother. And Johnny knows what I'm talking about. We did some work for the guy, just collaborating with the guy. The guy came on, he got a lot of business, whatever. The guy calls me October 2021. He goes, the Investment Authority loved what you guys did in Uganda. They love what you did. I want to connect you to these people in the Investment Authority. So even at the time, I was still like not believing the guy. So I was like, okay, sure. So I had a person that was doing agribusiness stuff for us. So I was like, well, who is this actual person? Who is this actual entity? And then we found out the person didn't even exist.
Oh, no.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it was also like a loop to try to keep you wanting more from them, although they had nothing to offer you. And that is a mental tactic that I see that happens a lot here in East Africa. I don't know about West Africa, but, oh, that's great. Or, you know what? This person really liked this. So who is this person? But we're going to talk about that person, which that person doesn't even exist. But it's just that they need something from you, and they don't have anything to offer you but a facade. And instead of just coming them out and saying, listen, I don't have anything to offer you, but I really want to work with you. And what do you want from me? And if I don't have it, I can go and get it and come back. Because sometimes in business, somebody wants to work with you and they just don't have what you're looking for right now. But here's what you can do. They can work on it and come back and give it to you.
So it sounds like they're trying to get you on the hook.
Exactly. So let's say somebody wants to work with me, but you want to work with me, but you don't have anything. Okay, I can instruct you, because it still could be opportunity. Come back when you have X, Y, and Z, then we'll work. And some people will work a year on themselves and then come back and have something to offer you. That happens too.
Yeah.
But in this case, they don't want to tell you that. What they want to say is, well, here's the lie and the facade of what I do have, which I don't. But I'd love to use your cameras for my own stuff. I love to use your Kingana audience for your own stuff.
So that's slick.
Yes. So that happens a lot in this market. A lot of promising to a facade, which isn't anything. Well, I don't know about West Africa.
Well, in the West, they'll just outright scam you. I was dealing with a guy working on a trip, and his name is Joey.
Joey, you done f***ed up.
He sure has.
Joey.
He's in the sewing community.
Joey, you better leave African Americans alone, bro.
Oh, yeah, he's a scammer.
Bruh.
He's a first-rate, low-level scammer.
Bro, we gonna find you, bro.
And he's real charismatic. He's real articulate.
They don't do shit like this on their podcast.
Oh, yeah?
But we do. Put it on me. We do shit like this.
I wish I could remember his last name, but I can't.
We gonna find it out.
What did Joey
we gonna find it out.
Well, let me tell you what Joey did over in Ghana.
Yeah. Story time music.
Yeah, there it is. Dun, dun, dun. So Joey...
Y'all little allergic to average, huh? Have me on there one episode.
That's right. Everybody say
you can't
Joey.
Release it.
Say Joey. That's right. Put that in your name if you ever deal.
We here now. Y'all better leave us alone.
That's right. And
Go ahead.
He's in the sewing community.
Okay.
So he was referred to us by a friend, and to help us facilitate a sewing experience. That's what he calls it. So we do a couple of Zooms with him, and he's very, if you listen to him, you can tell he's been trained in the West. So he's picked up some of them Western tendencies too.
Right.
So he comes across being trustworthy.
Yep.
He said, I'm working with the sewing facility, and we're going to make sure this happens, and here's the price for this experience. So we're thinking everything is all good. We have 2 Zooms with them, map it out. So the day of the sewing experience comes around. This joker is MIA. So, the day before the sewing experience, I said, let me go to this facility just to check things out. So he's there. He's like, hey, walking me around. I'm feeling pretty good about everything. Now, this is a bold-faced lying scammer. So we get there. He says, hey, man, I don't know how to tell you this, but they're trying to charge another $2,500 for you all to be able to come here. We didn't know, that the group was going to come, and they didn't know, and it was my mistake. So could you please give another $2,500? I said, I'm not giving anything.
How much did you give it?
I'd already given him $5,000. So I said, no, I'm not giving you anything else. So now he's causing me to change my tone. Now I'm going into, now you messing with me. So he backed off of that.
Oh, we got to whip his ass.
Yeah, he needs one badly.
Yeah, we're going to.
He needs some tires. He needs a tire put over him. And that's what they do in Ghana. So the deal is, so we get there.
Couldn't bleep that tire out.
So we get there, and the place is a mess. The people weren't properly communicated with. So the organization is looking bad. They don't know because he hasn't given them all the details. He shows up late. Oh, I was doing an interview somewhere. So he shows up late. He's trying to piece this thing together. So the organization looks bad. We look bad. So we're looking at him. He's like, well, what I actually said was, now we have all the Zooms. We have everything documented, what he said he was going to do. So the school was frustrated. And so they reached back out to me to say, hey, what did he actually say? I said, well, this is the invoice he gave us. He said, well, this is what we charged him. So he charged us 3 times what the school charged. So, of course, I hit him up. I said, hey, dude, what's going on? And now I'm speaking, dude, I'm not even.
Now we got to get to the hood on you.
I'm like, what's up, dude? I'm saying, you scamming, you lying, what's happening here? Of course, he runs quiet. Now, the good thing is that the school agreed to make good on where he messed up. But that's the type of stuff you deal with.
Did you get the money back?
No.
You ever find him again?
No, he's going to be in hiding. That's why I'm calling him out on this, to say, if you're in the sewing community in Ghana and a dude named Joey is around.
You got his picture?
I don't.
Damn. Send it to us.
Run.
Over here.
Because, and it's not even my style to put people out there like that, but he's probably done this to other Ghanaians. And that Ghanaians will tell you when people are out here.
They get scammed the most.
Yeah. They'll tell you, this is, you all get scammed, but we get scammed too. And it's a very in-your-face kind of, it might not be as bad as other places, but it's in your face. And if you don't have the skin to deal with that, because that was one of those things where I was like, oh, that was a gut punch. That was one of those ones where I was like, man, I'm trusting this dude. So now what it does is it's like I need to deal directly with the source. Now I don't need you in the middle of anything.
Right.
I take the middle people out. No, I need to talk to the hotel. I need to talk to the transportation company.
Did you say middlemen? I hate middlemen. I hate them.
Yeah, because
passion.
and I'm fine if he marked it up, but deliver.
Right.
Yeah.
Deliver. I know you got to make money. I'm cool with you making money, but don't under-deliver and then make the school look bad. School has a great reputation, and then make us look bad at the same time. So, of course, we had to take that hit. People didn't know what all went transpired behind the scenes, but you deal with that, and you deal with But it's not just on the continent. I mean, even dealing with hiring people, from America. I'm big on trying to hire from the Black community. But then Negroes come on the job and get lazy.
Yeah, Negroes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They get lazy. They get lazy.
We want to say something else.
Yeah, I do want to say it. I say niggas. Niggas come on the job and get lazy. That's what I want to say. And they get lazy and they sit there and you're like, this is an opportunity.
Right.
But then they feel entitled.
Right.
And they'll drag your business down.
Right.
So I cleaned house. I was like, oh no, I work too hard. I'm flying all over the continent. I'm establishing relationships. And what I do is really a labor of love for both sides.
Right.
So I want those of us in the U.S. who've not had the exposure to come and have the experience. But then I want those of us on the continent who have had the resources stolen from them to now have the opportunity for the resources to come back.
Right.
If you take Black Americans alone, not the larger African diaspora, but just Black Americans alone, that's like the 13th wealthiest country in the world.
Right.
So I'm just trying to bring a little piece of that back, but then you hired lazy Negroes, scamming Negroes, Negroes who got game, Negroes who, feel as though you owe them something because you Black.
We got them too. And ours is they probably better than the ones on Africa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I tell people, somebody was like, oh, you got to watch out for them Nigerians. I said, have you dealt with Black Americans?
Man.
I said, if you dealt with us, I said, if you can deal with Black Americans and some of the scams that come out of Black America, you can deal with Nigerians, you can deal with Ugandans, you can deal with Kenyans.
They think they're good. Man, come on, bro. Like we ain't seen it all. The dudes from our community,
they'll scam you in the name of the Lord. They'll say this is they'll come in there and say, brother, I'm gonna pray for you. And you sit there, you like, what?
Come on, man.
And they're lying and cheating.
Like my grandma used to say, I've been where you trying to go. That's exactly when we come here. Come on, bro. What do you I told one dude he's trying to scam me. I said, man, listen, repeat what you just said again. And he did it. I said, does it make sense? He says no. I said, get the fuck out of my face, man. You know it. Go ahead.
So, I mean,
I get a whole lot right here.
I'm very entertained by the stories of calling out shady business practitioners, man. I mean, I'm all about that. I mean, O'Shea knows me. This team knows me. I bring all the smoke when I am sufficiently grieved, right? But also, on the flip side of it, I'd like to juxtapose that with a story of understanding what are the most gratifying experiences that you've had, right? Because your business, again, it's all about relationships. It's all about helping people grow and succeed.
Yeah.
The business partners that you have, the vendors that you deal with,
yes,
the staff that you employ, train, hire, help grow. So maybe you could share a story in that spirit of, maybe it was a vendor that you're dealing with who was operating at a very small level and you've helped them sustain growth and establish something that has now changed the fortune of their families forever. Or maybe it was an individual. You mentioned the lady from Tanzania who had never traveled. Now she's been all over the continent. The gentleman in Ghana who's now making some substantial money that's clearly changing the generational financial status of his family forever. What is maybe like that most meaningful win, that most meaningful success story that you can share with us in terms of how this journey of yours has impacted somebody or someone's business in a way that you'll always remember and appreciate?
Well, that's the reason why we continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because the frustrating ones will make you not want to do it.
Yeah.
But it's when you have someone who was trying to complete their education.
Right.
And they were able to get their master's degree because their income level increased.
Right.
Or we decided, we're going to pay for your master's degree. And it's now taking them to a whole different place in the journey. Watching our staff travel the world when they never traveled before. So in the midst of all of the negative, I always think to myself, how was somebody benefiting from this?
Yeah.
And now what we do is we have a small team, but they're more effective. And that's what I look at. And it's the ones who respect the journey, the ones who appreciate it, the ones who go above and beyond. So vendors, I'm thinking about my guy, Yusef, out in Tanzania. And we were on one tour and he was having a family crisis. And he said, he said, Jay, I just need to tell you what's going on. I said, do you need to, take off or whatever? He said, no, I'm going to stay through. He said, but I have a pretty serious family situation. I said, okay. I said, if you need to go, it's okay. I said, I can pick this up and do it. He said, no, I'm going to stick all the way through. He stuck all the way through. I let the people on the tour know, hey, I asked him first, is it okay if I let the people know? He said, yeah, you can let them know. But the way that they appreciated him financially, he said, I'll never forget this. And he said, by the time the tour was over, he said the family situation had gotten better. And so now every time we do a tour, he said, what do you need me to do? He said, I'm here. He said, I'm here. He said, one of the last things he said to me on the not this recent tour, but the previous tour, he said, Jay, wherever you go in the world, he said, I always want you to remember that there's someone in Zanzibar that's always thinking about you. And so when you have those types of encounters that transcends borders and cultures, that's one that I'll always remember. My guy in Egypt, Prince, and everybody who goes on our tour, they know Prince. He took me, he said, Jay, you're my family. And he took me out with his wife and his daughter and just was taking me around, paid for everything. And I'm saying, I got this. He said, no, I got this. I said, well, what is this all about? He said, you're my family. Now, this dude is Egyptian. They tell us that the Egyptians don't like us. Now, I haven't had that encounter in Egypt. Everybody's been very kind. So when I go back and I look at it, I said, even in the midst of people not appreciating, there's always those who will appreciate.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is the spirit that we operate in. So even though, because some people think, oh man, I love the life you live. It looks great. Man, I say, you just don't know some of the stories I could tell.
Right.
being assaulted on the AWA flight, the Africa World
to Tanzania, right?
No, in Ghana.
Ghana, okay.
In Ghana, yeah. Oh, well, the Tanzania flight where they, Precision Air, that's
go ahead, call them out.
the lowest level operating airline in West Africa, Precision Air. But in the spirit of keeping things positive. In the spirit of keeping things positive. Yeah, man. So when I think about all of that, and it's worth the success stories. When I see the 94-year-old man come on a tour and say this is his first time in Africa, or second time in Africa, or the 85-year-old person who comes, and they're like, wow, this is my first time here. So you deal with the foolishness and you deal with it. You don't let it slide, but you learn that, okay, when this happens, something good is going to come from it. And it's not, everybody does not have that level of patience, as you referenced earlier. It takes a level of patience to do it. And when you're patient with the process, the reward is on the other side of the patience. So whenever something crazy happens, like, let me just keep moving forward. And then that's when a new deal will come through that'll have 85 people. And I don't see it coming. And I was like, wow, 85 people coming? Wow, look at this. And then I can expand and reach more people, and I can tell the stories through documentaries because I'm because I'm willing to endure whatever comes with the territory. I mean, I have stories for days, but just to kind of summarize.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it if it were that bad.
Right.
Of course.
I'm at an age where I don't want to punish myself. I paid my dues.
Yeah.
So it's like now, like, hey, you know what? If it's that deep, I don't need to do it. But it's always rewarding when I see families come, when I see children come, when I see first timers to the continent come, and we curate these amazing experiences. And then a lot of times when folks disrespect the hard work that people put in, they look at it from afar and say, wow, that was an opportunity. Because we're consistent. We don't deviate. We are consistent with what we do and unapologetic. And so you recognize if you're doing something worthwhile, haters are going to come. You don't focus on them but so much. I appreciate the opportunity to, vent publicly here and get all that
anytime.
off. Yeah, anytime.
We all about that smoke.
Got it off my chest. But now it's beautiful to be here. If I didn't go through what I've been through, I wouldn't be sitting here with you all. And I appreciate, this is a moment that I appreciate. Because we had a conversation and I wanted to make sure I came to Uganda. Never been to Uganda.
Now Uganda's going to bring the tourists here so we can call y'all out too. So let me just say this one thing. I know we've been here for a while, but also when we talk about the rewards on the other side, the reward for me is not just the money. The reward is for us to be able to do business within our own community and clean up our own people. That's the reward. Because one thing, you can work in corporate America all you want and make $1 million a year, but you cannot alter behaviors. When you own your shit with your own group of people, what did you say? Say it again. You need that kind of stuff. Come here. What did you say? All right, you better change your attitude. And you can clean your people up. That's what the whites do. what the Asians do, what the Arabs do. So we have the opportunity to deal with our own group independently and become what the Arabs have become. And that's the thing. We can work with our own group. We don't have to have our talent pool, going to, Apple or Dell or whatever. Okay, here's the continent and here's the black world. And now our people can reinvest into our own group to create what we want to see.
That's right.
And that's the beauty in owning what you have in the black world, is because you can be a man like the Arab is a man.
That's right.
And the Chinese is a man. So we put our pants on just like they do. There's no difference in that. And in Africa, we'll let you be a man. That's one thing I like about this place. If you want to get out there and do the work, you want to be the man, hey, ain't no Africans going to stop you as a black person from trying to be successful. That's one thing.
That's very true.
Yeah, and you get to be able to work with your group and create those opportunities. So, and that's even though power can be misused, but the power of being able to invest and just seeing not only other people grow, because in Kinganda, I could say, well, Jonita has grown X, Y, and Z. Now she's rich now, right? But it's not only that; it's the growth that I have seen in myself, and how immature and I'm very petty. Everybody knows that. But the development that I've had, and what has Uganda taught me? What has Africa taught me? What have I learned from Agave? What have I learned from the youth? What have I learned about their circumstances and our circumstances? How can I understand what somebody else is going through and not just looking at it from my own vantage point? And when you're working in the black world, it's going to be hard. Working with black people is hard. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not easy. But if you want to own something with your people, this is what every group does to clean their group up. Everybody goes through this process. And we're not only fighting for money, we're fighting for our people to come up.
Yes.
And it's not going to be easy, right? But you got to have that relationship to do it. Otherwise, you will always be working with the whites. That's the one thing I like about Uganda. I've never seen, the Minister of Agriculture, Frank Tambwazle. So we went to, what's this guy? This is his place.
Mbura Farm.
I ain't never seen anything like that before in my life. I almost felt like a white person. I wanted to start crying. I never seen no black person that own, like when Agaba says your father has a vanilla farm of how many acres?
It's coffee, like 40 acres.
Now, I don't even know any black person in America that even talks like that. 40 what?
Yeah, 40 acres.
And a mule.
I'm about to say a mule.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You own what?
Yeah.
And so when you look at that, this is somebody that's a man. They own their own. People in Africa own their own stuff. They don't. What is credit for the most part? You know what I mean? And so when you have the opportunity to work with your group, we need to. It's not going to be easy. You got to clean up your people. You got to clean yourself up too.
Yeah, and
your own bullshit. That's attitude.
That's right.
Which I'm still working on. But the whites all do it. The Asians do it, and they raise their people up while they're doing it. And I can check your attitude at the door. What you doing coming in like this? Go home and change clothes. What are you doing? And that's how your people develop. That's how Singapore developed. So hey, you want to come on this journey and deal with Negroes and their mindsets from Africa and America? There's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, but it's going to be hard. But the reward is to see the development of the group in the community. The money is there too, obviously.
It's definitely there.
But you got to clean your people up. If they don't have the mind, the money ain't gonna mean nothing no way.
That's right.
Because I think the way that Kinganda has developed in a short time, okay, obviously it's the money, but they love the business. They love the business. I think they like me. I'm not sure.
I've heard good things.
They talk about me behind my. I'm gonna beat this one when I get off the.
Yeah. Well, what can I say?
No, I'm just joking.
No,
I'm too big now, huh?
But yeah, guys, where can people find you if they want to follow you, Jay?
All right, you can find me at J Cameron Official on IG and on YouTube, as well as Facebook too. Yeah, and TikTok. So that's where I am. Yeah,
Nice.
You on TikTok? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, follow me at Master Gabs on IG and X and Allergic to Average. You know the vibes.
You can send us an email at teamkinganda@gmail.com. Please be nice.
Please be nice
in the email,
because I will block you. I check it sometime.
Yeah, and you can also follow us on all our social media platforms at Kinganda Nation. My name is Janita. I'll see you guys next time.